first on Guam. KUAM News headlines are presented by Calvo's Insurance, protecting Micronesia for 85 years. Matson and the Adahi Itano program. Apply at matson.com. Cars Plus, Guam's automotive leader in sustainability and electric vehicles. Learn more at carsplusguam.com. McDonald's of Guam, I'm loving it. And King's Restaurant, serving your local breakfast, lunch, and dinner favorites for over 45 years.
Ahead on KUAM News Primetime, a banned chemical has been discovered in Guam's drinking water, causing Guam's Environmental Protection Agency to investigate. Mitsuki Hirayama with the report. Plus, AG Doug Moylan says he welcomes the ethics inquiry against him ordered by the Supreme Court. He speaks with Ernesto Lecanto. And 671-797 WARM. That's how to reach the folks at Togi who are standing by this holiday season to give you a safe ride before you consider getting behind the wheel while under the influence. Hafa and good evening. Welcome to KUAM News Primetime. I'm Nick Delgado.
And I'm Destiny Cruz. Happy Fresco Friday. Thank you so much for ending your week here with us.
Guam Environmental Protection Agency is investigating after concerning levels of dieldrin was discovered in Guam's drinking water. Dieldrin is a harmful pesticide that was banned about 4 decades ago.
So the recent increase is puzzling GEPA officials. Mitsuki Hirayama has more.
A banned chemical has been discovered in Guam's drinking water, causing Guam Environmental Protection Agency to investigate. A recent Guam EPA Board of Directors meeting revealing traces of dieldrin was flagged in 80 Guam Waterworks Authority entry points after an inspection by U.S. EPA National Enforcement Investigation Center back in March. Dieldrin is an organic chemical once used as a pesticide in crops and to control termites. It was banned by U.S. EPA in the late 1980s for its environmental hazards and potential carcinogenic effects. The chemical is not regulated by U.S. EPA, so there is no maximum contaminant level. Following Florida and Hawaii guidelines, Guam EPA plans to mandate a public notification and advisory at 0.002 micrograms per liter and a do not drink without treatment advisory at 0.2 micrograms per liter. 80 GWA entry points have sample results of over 0.01 micrograms per liter. 3 GWA production wells, meanwhile, are above the threshold for EPA's acceptable risk range. Military water wells do not currently have a report of dieldrin results. The agency is unsure where the banned chemical is coming from.
Guam EPA will be working with the Guam Public Water Systems to ensure that samples are analyzed at a lower minimum reporting level of 0.002 micrograms per liter to ensure public safety. And furthermore, Guam EPA is in the process of acquiring instruments to test dieldrin.
80 GWA entry points have sample results of over 0.01 micrograms per liter. 3 GWA production wells, meanwhile, are above the threshold for EPA's acceptable risk range. Military water wells do not currently have a report of dieldrin results. The agency is unsure where the banned chemical is coming from.
There's been studies that have shown that if you leave it in soil exposed to the environment, that it will all be gone within about 20 years, 25 years. So that's why it's a little puzzling to us why we're still seeing it, but it's not unusual. Other states have seen the same thing.
Chief Engineer Captain Brian Bearden with a working hypothesis that the increase in dieldrin in our drinking water may be due to the demolition of old buildings around the island. He believes the materials are hauled to hard fills exposed to rainfall and end up washing into the aquifer.
That's something that is going to require a whole of Guam EPA approach. So from pesticides to green parcels to hazardous waste, all branches of Guam EPA are going to have to be mobilizing to figure this out now and find out why it's increasing and try to stop this.
Once EPA leaders are ready to propose action levels, there will be a public comments period and a hearing. Matsuki Hirayama, KUAM News.
Attorney General Douglas Moylan says he welcomes the ethics inquiry against him ordered this week by the Guam Supreme Court.
The issue involves Moylan's use of Superior Court presiding Judge Alberto Lamarena as a reference in campaign documents. Nestor Lecanto has more.
The High Court's order follows a defense motion in the case against Public Health Director Art San Agustin, who's been charged with the unlawful approval of public school sanitary permits. His counsel, Jay Arreola, was seeking to disqualify Judge Alberto Lamarena for a conflict of interest because he was named as a reference in A.G. Moylan's campaign documents. Judge Lamarena denies giving Moylan permission to do so, which then raised the question of whether Moylan's use of Lamarena's name without his knowledge or consent is itself an ethics violation. Moylan says it was just a listing on his resume for the time he worked as a court attorney.
My boss was current presiding Judge Lamarena. He was the presiding judge back then as well. In a curriculum vitae, you put references to who is your boss, essentially. And if you Google it online, that's not meant to say that they endorse you. That's meant to verify what the first 6 pages of my resume or my curriculum vitae stated. So, and that's nationally accepted. It's a professional way of showing who you are, what you are, but giving the reader the ability to check it. Again, I fully welcome the inquiry. I think we need to discuss this because it dealt with an election. You deal with the elections. Free speech, equal protection, and due process, which are our Constitution's guarantees to all of us citizens, is important. I use the example also. Lieutenant Governor Josh Tenorio, he also worked for the Judiciary of Guam. And I want to say, and I'm checking it right now, his hiring authority, his boss, is the Chief Justice. Can he not put in the resume that the Chief Justice is a reference, a professional reference in his resume? That's what the questions that it raises. There's no rule specifically on point.
Moylan says the issue needs to be clarified about whether a lawyer such as himself should be sanctioned for listing a judge as a reference in a CV.
So is the standard different for lawyers, that we have to be held to a stricter standard that they could sanction us as a lawyer? What about the non-lawyer? Why don't they get sanctioned? The same effect. I understand the courts do not want their influence being peddled, influence peddling, stuff like that. But it wasn't like I was saying, please vote for me and the presiding judge thinks I'm a good guy. Nothing in that document.
The question has been referred to the Office of Regulation Counsel, which is headed by attorney Alicia Limtiaco, a former AG herself, who defeated Moylan in the 2006 election. Nestor Lacanto, KUAM News.
We reached out to the court and are waiting on a statement. We will update the story should we receive it.
Well, the Guam Election Commission is still working out the formalities of the potential closed Democratic primary next year. During a meeting last night, Executive Director Maria Pangilinan said she's still awaiting a formal resolution from the party, which requires an official signature. Board Chairman Jerry Chrysostomos says the campaign season is coming up fast.
The 2024 election is upon us, and I guess we're charged with drafting the rules and regulations for this potentially closed primary, which will require time and public education. So I guess the sooner we follow up with the party to...
Did you want me to send something out again, sir?
Yes.
Also during the hearing, longtime member Alice Tyron announced she's stepping down. An independent board commissioner, Attorney Patrick Seville, used the opportunity to give the former chair and the GEC a pat on the back. He says Guam is a model for how elections should be run and how election commissions should be managed.
The willingness, as Commissioner Benny said, the willingness to work together with people across the aisle or with the very sizable independent group, it pays off. And we should be proud of that, and you should be proud. That's a huge accomplishment. We've had peaceful elections, and when there have been disputes, they've been resolved the way they're supposed to be resolved. And it really is a model for the country, if you think about it. And that's saying quite a bit.
Tyron's replacement as a Democratic representative to the board has not yet been announced. Over in Saipan, 28-year-old Joshua Okarukuru was reported missing there. The CNMI Department of Public Safety announcing that he's missing Thursday and told KUAM that he's still missing as of Friday morning. Local authorities say he was last seen walking north on Fishing Base in Garapan on December 19th around 2 in the afternoon. He was last seen wearing red pants, a gray shirt, and black shoes, and was holding a black and blue backpack.
Police describe him as 5'9", weighing 170 pounds with brown hair and brown eyes. Now, anyone with information on his whereabouts is urged to call 911 or the DPS Criminal Investigations Bureau at 670-664-9042.
Back here, Safer Ride Home. It's a unified effort to combat drunk driving on the island's roadways.
KUAM speaks with designated drivers from Togi Incorporated as they dedicate themselves to safeguarding the island community during this festive holiday season.
Thank you for calling Togi Warm Line. Hi. Good afternoon. How can we help you today?
Meet the drivers behind the wheel of a program to help you get home safely. It's the Guam Behavioral Health and Wellness Center and Togi Incorporated's designated driver service, giving the gift of a safe ride home to the community this holiday season. Mark Anthony is a Togi transport manager and peer mentor. He's celebrating his second year sober by being part of this life-saving intervention.
Now I have that sense of life, that drive. Like, every life matters now, not just mine, not just the people I'm associated with or affiliated, my family, but it's every life. Our island has or needs to change. We're not saying that you can't go and party, but there's the responsibility of it.
Mark, alongside his fellow recovering peer mentor, Monica Calvo, giving up spending time with their loved ones this festive season to safeguard the island. And the service, 100% free.
Whether you're at a bar, whether you're at a restaurant, whether you're at a barbecue, a family party, Christmas party, you're at the beach, wherever it is that you're out on Guam and you need a safe ride home, we're here to help you.
From north to south and even on military bases, the dedication of these designated drivers knows no bounds.
You can call us at 671-787-WARM-9276 or 671-686-9276. And then that also goes for the safe driving. And then also you can call the suicide and crisis hotline at 988. So there's 3 numbers that you can actually call.
So if you've had too much to drink and don't have a DD, you can start calling them today through January 2nd between 6 p.m. and 6 a.m.
Arrive Alive. Really nice effort there.
Yes, amazing. Arrive Alive. That's the word of the season.
Time for a quick break, but keep it here.
You're watching KUAM, your leader in local news.
Half a Day Fresco Fridays on KUAM News. Presented by Fresco Clothing, original custom design apparel of Guam and the Marianas. Located in Hagåtña, just across from the Gani Shopping Center.
While you've been waiting to see if EVs are a thing, my dad went electric.
Up to 360 miles on a single charge.
And if my dad's on board, yours could be next.
You know I'm doing this for the next generation.
Dad, we are not having the grandkids conversation again.
No, I'm just saying EVs are good for any generation. Or all generations. Generationally good.
Introducing the all-electric Hyundai Ioniq 6 with up to 360-mile range. When it comes to EVs, we're thinking of every mile.
Zoom Zoom! 'Tis the season for speed, and Docomo Pacific is putting prepaid customers in the fast lane. Starting November 3rd, 2023 to January 31st, 2024, every $5 prepaid card purchase from a participating store gives Docomo Pacific customers a chance to win a brand new Mazda 3. So load up at participating stores and drop off your entry to any Docomo Pacific retail store. Docomo Pacific, better together. Some conditions apply. Visit DocomoPacific.com for details.
Welcome back to Primetime. 12 CNMI cops were terminated after an investigation into illegal overtime.
Regional correspondent Tomas Minglotnya reports on the latest developments on the case. Here's more.
The NMI Department of Public Safety has terminated the remaining 12 officers out of the 28 cops who were placed on administrative duty in March after they faced allegations of illegal overtime. CNMI DPS Commissioner Clement Bermudez recently gave an update at a press conference on Saipan.
From the 28, as it further developed, some were reinstated, some resigned, and some just that left with 12 of them. The 12 were, unfortunately, we lost the 12 this past month. We have terminated them from the department because the allegations were substantiated against them.
The commissioner says some of those officers have appealed to the Civil Service Commission and DPS is preparing a response. KUAM asked him about the circumstances that led to the investigation.
Everybody clocks in on biometric. Surprisingly, most of them didn't use a biometric, right? So it's a manual write-in. One of the policies that I've instituted to address that is that it requires everybody to use the biometric, and anybody that does not has to write me a letter justifying why they failed. It ranges from I was too busy at the front desk, right, coming in, he got distracted, and so you got different reasons, right? But what I'm trying to see if there's a consistency of or a pattern of something. That's when we start catching, right? So to address that really is to ensure that everybody times in using the biometric time clock.
With a decrease in officers, Bermuda says they're working to launch another academy with the Northern Marianas College to bring in another 30 officers. Currently, DPS has 168 officers. He says the ideal number would be 250. Tomas Manglonia, KUAM News, Saipan.
A former Guam man is asking for the community's support in helping raise funds for a woman who has supported him his entire life.
Julian Hernandez was able to reach out to him as he tells his story.
His voice and the hair is familiar on Guam. Bobby Wang now calls Spokane, Washington home.
The goal for this campaign is $7,500.
A campaign for Mom. Unlike many of us, Bobby isn't spending the holidays entirely celebrating. He recalls the unexpected phone call just days after Thanksgiving.
When I first received the news and not being able to go out there immediately and constantly wonder every day, how's she doing, what's going on, and the thing that just really struck a chord was just wondering if she was somehow aware and was just wondering, where's my son? So all of that waiting in between and not knowing was incredibly difficult.
Bobby got a call from Taiwan that his mother had suffered a hemorrhagic stroke. Mom being cared for at the Shuangho Hospital. She can't move the right side of her body and can't eat on her own. His mom will spend the next 6 months to a year recovering. Wang says she needs a physical therapist or a live-in nurse to help boost her recovery. That brings us back to the reason he shaved his head. His mother took great pride in her hair, but before surgery, doctors had to shave it. So this is his way to show Mom his support. This proud son showcasing this fundraising site to help cover the expenses for Mom's post-stroke recovery. And in return to those who help out?
On the GoFundMe page, it's listed that if you are a donor, then I'm willing to do a little thank you for you. If there is a little piece of media that you grew up with, a book that reminds you of your parents, I'm really willing to read a section of that and then send it off to you. In addition to that, I guess what I'd like to say is happy holidays.
For more on Bobby's efforts for his mom, go to KUAM.com. Julian Hernandez, KUAM News.
Thanks, Jules. Well, since 2009, the Harvest House has been the safe haven for the island's foster children.
Jonah Goncharfris spoke with its executive director, who recaps 2023 and what her hopes are for the new year.
I just totally want to take that stigma away from every foster child. I want it to be, this crisis, unfortunately, I hate it for you that you're here. I mean, no child should have to be removed from all that they love and all that they know and the people that were supposed to be there for them, and be removed from that and be placed with strangers, really, or placed in a shelter. But I'm hoping that with all the services and all the things that we have offered them and all the people that care for them, that will just change that trajectory.
That is Executive Director Bethany Taylor on what her hopes are when foster children come through Harvest House doors. The nonprofit organization is in its 14th year, and it also marks when Taylor and her husband became foster parents for the first time.
And really it stemmed from that first foster child experience. He has been the story and the vision behind all of this.
Over the course of the year, she says her and the incredible team at Harvest House have seen about 100 foster children come through their doors every month. And what a year it has been, especially with Typhoon Mawar.
We were all hands on deck every day, coming in here, feeding, bringing in certain donations to help the children in that time of need. It was a shift.
She notes the heartbreaking stories that came out of Mawar, from homes being destroyed, food loss, and not having enough money. Some of the families wound up in shelters, and it was tough, but they all pulled together.
We get to be hands-on with them. But all of our partners and all of these community people, and even besides, I mean, our businesses are amazing, our sponsors are amazing, our foster-friendly businesses are amazing. Everybody has these little hands, but we even have individuals, we have singles, we have families, we have churches, we have so many people that have seen the mission of Harvest House and say, I'm in.
But no matter the circumstances, Taylor wants to let the foster children and their families know they're here.
I think the coolest part about Harvest House is that it's, yes, all the crisis, but this is the place that's a safe haven for them. Every foster child that walks in our doors, it's like a little piece of heaven maybe for them. That's what we're hoping.
And Taylor's hopes for 2024?
The biggest goal we have every single day is that their foster care journey is one of success and beauty and not one of tears and hurt and pain.
Jonagan Charfris, KUAM News.
Now for a look at your world at home. Here's a view captured of the Christmas lights and decorations at the southern village of Inalahan.
Ooh, Inalahan rule?
Yay!
This view plus more Christmas music streaming now on Isla Digital Radio.
Honey, do you want some milk?
Do you ever wonder how your favorite products make their way into your local stores? Most arrive on state-of-the-art Matson vessels that transport containers of food, household items, equipment, and supplies into the islands every week. Because we know that you depend on us, we work closely with our partners to ensure that our shipments arrive on time, all the time, so you can find your favorite products when you need them. We transport the region's most precious cargo that supports successful businesses and promotes a better quality of life for our families. Matson is proud to have been the hometown shipping carrier for Guam, the CNMI, and Micronesia for the past 25 years, and you can count on us to be here for generations to come.
Guam's auto appearance specialist, Elegant Reflections, has been providing the automotive industry with professional detailing and car care products at its highest quality, from complete detailing, full interior detailing, exterior detailing, headlamp restoration, hand washing, seat and carpet shampoo, engine degreasing, undercarriage cleaning, paint sealant, fabric protection, paint oxidation removal, and so much more. Visit us at our new location. Call 646-5555 for an appointment. Elegant Reflections, Guam's auto appearance specialist. Over 20 years of experience.
Don't need a work break, keep the smile on your face. The moments you can't replace, and I'll be around. Whoa, you can count on me. You can count on me for life.
Wherever life takes you, we're always here for you. Calvo's Insurance. Count on us for life.
Nice. Oh.
Feed Me Fridays is brought to you by Devondale. Real milk from free grazing cows.
Half a day, guys, and happy holidays. Today, we're gonna be doing something very festive and fun, and is honestly one of my favorites. So let me take you guys through it with just only 4 ingredients. Peppermint cookies and cream milkshake, cookies and cream ice cream, Devondale milk, peppermint candy canes, and whipped cream. Scoop our ice cream. We'll do about 4 scoops. We're gonna add candy canes. And of course, we can't forget our Devondale milk. I like my milkshake a little thickiana, as Destiny would say. And now we blend. And now the milkshake is finished. We just gotta pour it. Ooh. Now we have our peppermint cookies and cream shake. Of course, we gotta top it off with whipped cream. Yeah. Okay, and then boop. Wait, stop. That's so good. And there you have it, guys. Just 4 simple ingredients to make this peppermint cookies and cream milkshake. It's so delicious. It's perfect to share with your family, with your friends, if you guys are craving something sweet during the holidays. And let's all celebrate together during this time of love and giving. Merry Christmas, guys, and I'll see you guys next week. Cheers!
Feed Me Fridays is brought to you by Devondale. Real milk from free grazing cows.
Hey everybody, there is going to be a holiday camp and we want to invite you to participate. Get involved because it's going to be awesome for everybody. This goes down on the 26th through January 2nd from 8 to 1, excluding government holidays. It's free for kids 8 to 18 and you do not need to reside in Ironwood Estates. Please go check it out. The island-wide Christmas drive is hosted by our friends at Chamorro Diamond, and they are going to be going all around the island spreading holiday cheer. They've got music, they got passing out goodie bags from all over Guam. Make sure to get involved with the Christmas drive. That's on the 23rd. And come meet Santa if you want to hang out at the shopping center. That is the Joten Tasupi shopping center for those of you up in the CNMI. Make sure to check it out because Jolly Old Saint Nick will be making an appearance. Spoiler alert, he's going to be there 18th to the 22nd from 5 to 7. That is what's going on today in Newsbox.
Now your Cold Stone Creamery Birthday Club shoutouts submitted on KUAM.com.
And the winner of a yummy ice cream cake.
Okay guys, it's Friday, so before you finalize your Christmas shopping and wrapping presents, we want to say happy birthday to the island's newest 7-year-old. This is Evan Kinata. And Evan, we hope you have a wonderful, wonderful birthday. Your family made sure to tell us to say that they are sending all of their love to you. You know who's also having an awesome birthday? An extended birthday is Grayson King St. Nicholas, because Grayson is the winner of this week's Cold Stone Creamery birthday cake. And congratulations to you, Grayson. Look out for a special bonus Christmas present. That's going to be a DM from us to let you and your family know how you can pick up your prize. So, happy birthday to all, and have a wonderful holiday and Merry Christmas.
And that's your Primetime Show. Thanks so much for watching. I'm Nick Delgado.
And I'm Destiny Cruz. Have a safe weekend and stay beautiful.
KUAM News Hotspot is presented by Calvo Enterprises, Inc.
Good day, everyone, and welcome to The Hub. I'm Nestor Licanto, and our guests this week are going to be talking about possibly one solution to our affordable housing issue. We have with us here today is Professor Ernesto Guadas of the University of Guam School of Engineering, and Ann De La Cruz, who is a co-founder of Star Sand Technologies. Thanks for joining us.
Pleasure to be here.
Pleasure to have you with us. Let's just start off, Professor, maybe just tell us a little bit about yourself and your background, and then I'll ask Ann to do likewise.
Yeah, I'm Ernesto. I am an assistant professor at the School of Engineering of the University of Guam. And my focus of research interest is on sustainable building materials and also construction materials. And also I'm also working on geopolymer concrete and also for seismic design of structures, for example, with that one.
Okay. And Ann, talk about your background a little bit.
So I'm actually born and raised here on Guam. I left the island so I graduated from Academy of Our Lady in '98. Left the island to go to college over at the University of San Francisco. Went from an island to a city, and I was like, oh, I need to figure out how to pay for college. So I joined the Army ROTC program, which upon graduation I commissioned, joined active duty, did that for about 6 years, got out only to marry back in. So military family had moved us around the world. We actually just moved back home from having lived in Japan for the last 4 years. And what brings me home is for two reasons. One, part of my family succession plan. Guam Imperial is my dad's company. He started 41 years ago. And my boys. I have 3 boys. My oldest is 8, my twins are 6, and you know, we've moved 15 times in the last 20 years. And
how about your background with respect to Star Sand Technologies?
Yeah, so actually, about a year ago, I knew absolutely nothing about 3D printing, and this in particular is 3D concrete printing. And so Adrian Sinclair is the man I met while we were stationed over at Yokota Air Base, so he's actually still there now. We met at a birthday party. He heard real estate and Guam, and he's like, let's talk. We had coffee, hit it off. I was sharing with him actually some of my insights about the real estate market here in Guam, and he said, hey, have you thought about 3D printing? And I'm like, sounds good. I know absolutely nothing about it. And he's like, no, you can print houses now. And I was like, oh, well, that's great. But, you know, Guam, you know, it's different, right? We like our concrete. And he's like, no, you can actually print homes with concrete. And so I said, wow, okay, well, that's different. Tell me more. He told me more. And then I told him, you need to come to Guam so that way you could actually see what the conditions are here and that you think this technology is actually deployable and feasible for the island. Yeah. And so he actually came here March of this year. And what we did is we just did a quick roundtable because I also brought private equity companies here. Right. That is where we had Ron Pangolin and his team with Platinum Properties. They talked to us about the residential market, the commercial real estate market. We had Dr. Gary Hiles talk to us about Guam's economic outlook. Right. And then we had Mel Mendiola with Gita talk to us about what GovGuam is doing. So
that was the additive construction roundtable that was hosted at the University of Guam. So when I heard about 3D printing and concrete homes, it's hard for, I think, the layman to kind of wrap their head around 3D printing of a concrete home. And Professor, maybe you could elaborate on how exactly does that work? How do you create a concrete home out of 3D printing?
So this one is basically we apply what we call the 3D, the additive manufacturing technique, in which, you know, it's just the same with the printer. We just, this one is a 3D, so all we need to do is simply to have the robots which can print that one. So we just have to put, you know, the materials, which is, I think now we're working on the cement-based material. It's a mortar-based, And so all we need to do is simply to feed it on the machine, and then the machine will do all of those ones. It's just like a printer that we have, only but this one is I would say it's a large scale printing of the structures for us to make a full scale house.
Okay, you want to add to that, how that works?
Yeah, so I mean, it literally is like almost like an industrial size printer, and it literally just prints layers. The technology itself, the printer.
Like when you say layers, like
As
it's like
in-
a hollow brick kind of thing, or what
No,
you would
it
consider?
literally is a layer by layer. Like it just kind of goes like this. Whereas in traditional construction, you tend to do brick by brick, and usually you start one area, then go another. This is just, it prints the entire house, if you will, in just constant, continuous mode. And it really eliminates a lot of what traditional construction does, because you don't have basically the printer does all the heavy lifting.
Yeah, and you mentioned robots, right? So
Yes.
is that technology has to be brought in, right? We don't currently have that here on Island, right?
Correct, and that's actually why we did that additive construction roundtable, because what we didn't want to do is we didn't want to bring the printer here and say, hey, you know, here's this technology, it could solve our housing problems. What we wanted to do is we wanted to introduce what is the technology, what it can do, what are the applications with it that would apply here on Guam, and then the question is not only do you want, we know that you need it, but do you want it? I think that for us that was really the question, because yes, it's technology, but the magic isn't the technology. The technology itself is just the how, right? It's the people behind it, the community that comes together to take this technology and apply it in the community.
Yeah. And I guess the first question by people who might be interested in a 3D home, 3D, is how much is it going to cost?
Great question. So the answer is we don't know, right? Until we bring the technology here and actually apply it. But what I can tell you is stateside, what the company has already proven is they built, I think, less than 300 square foot home, tiny home, in one day for $13,000 in raw material. So now, of course, we have to take that, bring it here, and then when you add in all the costs to bring the technology here, plus we also don't know, so the concrete, right, is, you know, there's no proprietary concrete mix here. We literally take the sand, cement, lime, right, the just general ingredients, and we use a supply that's here. And because we don't know the quality of the sand, the quality of all of that we're using here, it's really hard to determine the chemistry and what we'd need to do to figure that out.
Yeah.
So that's actually why we're partnering with Professor Guadez and his team with the EOG School of Engineering, is to figure out the material science, right? What we can do using Guam's natural resources.
Yeah. You just piqued my interest even further, because you just said that you had like a kind of a tiny home model that was basically built in a single day.
Yes.
That's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
You want to talk about more about that?
Yeah, that one is, you know, the role of the university, particularly here, is first is we are going to help, for example, structural elements testing, where we are going to do testing in laboratory. That will also be helpful in getting the informations, in getting those, in putting that in a codes, for example, or probably that is part of the guidelines that will be used in Guam. And so that's where the university will come in. So we have to partner with them, and if we still have chance and we have resources, we can also try to test the full-scale house that we are going to build. The other one, the university's role is for us, although we need probably in the initial phase of the project, they might be bringing here some materials, but at the long term, we will be also working on how we can find material that is suitable for the 3D printing, that we can find it in Guam, and also that makes also us more sustainable when it comes to materials, instead of bringing materials outside and come to Guam.
All right, we got to take a short break, but we'll talk a little bit more about the challenges for this particular type of housing. We're going to take a short break. We'll be back with more of The Hub right after this.
Triple treat box, 3 layers deep, 10 Cinnabon mini rolls to eat, 5 breadsticks, and a pizza plus another pizza. Triple treat box, only from Pizza Hut.
Zoom Zoom! 'Tis the season for speed, and Docomo Pacific is putting prepaid customers in the fast lane. Starting November 3rd, 2023 to January 31st, 2024, every $5 prepaid card purchase from a participating store gives Docomo Pacific customers a chance to win a brand new Mazda 3. So load up at participating stores and drop off your entry to any Docomo Pacific retail store. Docomo Pacific, better together. Some conditions apply. Visit DocomoPacific.com for details.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Nestor Lecanto. We've been speaking with Professor Ernesto Aguades and Ann Dela Cruz about this fascinating, what I find really fascinating, 3D construction of concrete homes. We were talking earlier about some of the challenges. Maybe you can elaborate more on that, the challenges of actually producing those types of homes here.
Of course, there are several challenges that I'm looking here. For example, we don't have yet guidelines and codes, because this is still a new technology. So it needs, it needs to have lots of informations, lots of testings coming on for us to have the informations that might be also helpful when it comes to evaluations of the projects. So we are going to also coordinate with the DPW for them to, to really look onto the possibilities when it comes to code requirements of that one. The other one also, because it's still new, is that we need to have materials that is really suitable here. That's also one of the challenges. But still, in the long term, we can still look for some materials which we can find in KUAM, and that makes also are sustainable. So far, those are the challenges that I think that might be facing with this 3D printing on Guam.
Yeah, and as the professor mentioned, it has to meet code, right? And one of the biggest challenges of building a home on Guam is to make sure it's typhoon proof, because we are in a typhoon belt. Is that something that can be addressed?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it has already been proven in where this printer is actually operating and the things that it's doing, that the strength, you control the mix, right? And this mix itself is what determines the strength of the product. And so when you talk about, will it meet the seismic code, will it meet the typhoon code, those things can be addressed. And that's why we're working with, with all the people to know what those requirements are, because not only do we want to meet it, we want to exceed it. Right. And so I think we have the people that we need to have those conversations to figure that out.
Yeah. Are there communities in the states that you can use as, kind of a guide for you? Like in places that, say, for example, are also subject to typhoons or, strong, heavy winds?
Yeah, I believe you've seen some of that. Could you talk on that?
Yeah, I've read about related to the guidelines. For example, in the International Building Code, they also specify that there is one provisions there that we can use different methods of constructions, which is not from traditional one. So we can use 3D printing there, but this is still subject to the review of the local building officials here. So, but there are existing codes related to structural members. So, for example, for the walls, we already have some guidelines there. But I think here, as long as we can do some testings and also some results of that one that will also aid in the evaluations of the building officials, then probably those challenges can also be met and solved.
Yeah, I think one of the other concerns might be whether or not the structure itself is insurable.
Yeah.
To protect homeowners in the case of of a storm or flooding or whatever it might be. Is that something that you've looked into as well?
Yes, absolutely. I'll tell you the two questions we get often is questions regarding the code, right, as well as insurance. And we've spoke with several insurance companies here on island, and the answer they gave us is that it really will come down to the structural engineer. You have to have a local licensed structural engineer who will do all the do all the things that need to be done to meet and exceed those requirements. And in the report that they seal and certify, that's what the insurance companies are going to look at. They're going to look at that report because they also have their own structural engineers. And as long as on that report it says that they meet or exceed the base requirements, then for them that helps mitigate their liability, and therefore they will insure.
Okay, and once again, Star Sand's role in all of this would be to eventually bring in the printing equipment. It's still hard for me to say printing equipment.
Yes, 3D concrete printing. Yeah,
my brain's saying 3D printing and building a concrete home, but that would be your primary role?
Yes, so two parts. One, we are the master distribution role. So with BudBot, so we are the ones that if anyone does want the printer, they would go through us. But the thing is we also want to be the developer, right? Because we want our intention is to design and print homes that are community centered, right? If you look around, if you look at most multifamily type homes or even just most spaces, you look at a lot and it's how can you fit as many units in one lot, right? Where we want to get to, which is very conducive to our culture, is we want to build community. We want our spaces to enable people to engage, right? Places to gather. So instead of a square, it's more like a circle, and where all the things that we do as a community are in there. So that's where we want to get to.
How about design? Would this be like a cookie cutter, one design, or would people be able to, you know, build it to their interest or preference?
Yeah, I'm so glad you asked that. Absolutely, it is the technology itself just does the print. Whatever you imagine that can be printed in concrete, you can make happen.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. Yes.
And so how does that work? Do you work with, like, say, an architect, or and how? Take us through that process. So I'm a customer one, and you brought in the equipment, and so I'm interested in, say, building, you know, a 3-bedroom home, 2-story, you know, garage, whatever. How would take us through that process? How would that work?
That's a really good question, and I actually can't answer that right now. And I'll tell you why, because I literally just moved back here August 10. We were looking to decide whether or not we were even going to move forward with this technology. And on November 17th, that was our community engagement where we were, you know, making the decision: are we going to do this or not? We honestly, we didn't even know if anyone was going to show up, right? And not only did they show up, they stayed, they asked questions. And so for that, November 17 was really when we said, okay, I think we're going to do this. So now we're trying to do all the things we need to do to get set up. And so that question, great question, I personally am not there yet.
Yeah.
To be
So
able
we're
to answer that.
literally at the very beginning of this whole thing, but it is a fascinating subject. And, you know, if it all, you know, comes true, if it happens, it could solve a lot of the issues that are currently confronting. I wanted to know, you were talking earlier about that the robots would essentially be able to do most of this work, so there would be no need for say, construction workers, or maybe even for the finishings for the home, or what role, if any, would construction workers have to play?
I think they still need some manpower. You know, it was discussed last time that there are still some things to be done by workforce. You know, by workers there, where they're going to, for example, if there are some irregularities, so it is still somebody to plane them. And also, I think there's also a need for guide when it comes to printing. But the one that is really doing is the robots, for example, a gantry type robots, where they usually do all of the job. But there's still some things there that needs to be refined. So that's where the manpower will come in to help also with that.
Yeah, and this would require specialized training to be able to operate the equipment?
Yes, and actually, I'm glad you brought that up, because that's exactly the other reason why we feel this is a good solution for the affordable housing, is the workforce development itself. We can take basically someone with zero skills, zero experience, send them to Utah, where the manufacturer actually has a training facility, and in 5 weeks they will complete their training and actually be certified to operate this the printer. We can bring them back to Guam and basically put them to work, right? We don't have to wait for them to get a degree. We don't have to wait for them to go through, you know, the normal channels you would have to go through to work in the construction field. And so the fact that now we can develop our own workforce, right, using our own people, and then put them to work to address the problem we all know we have here.
Yeah. And how much space would, say, that, you know, printer take up? How much space does it need?
Yeah, so there's several ranges of sizes of the printer. The smallest size is 15 by 15, and as large as 100 by 100. And the 100 by 100 could essentially print up to 23 feet high and 10,000 square foot of space. So basically an industrial warehouse.
Yeah, and so it would the parts, if you will, would be
they're configurable.
Yeah.
Yes.
You would produce the parts, then whoever the homeowner, the construction worker, whoever would pick that up and then bring it to their site, or?
Oh yes. So the machine itself is portable, so we can bring it
so
to
you bring
the
it
site.
to the site. Okay.
It will build, right, and then we break it down and we take it away.
Okay. Wow. That's even more convenient for the homeowner, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, you could build their property or their home right on the property that they purchase. Yeah.
Yes, they could. We bring the printer there. We use island resources, right, for the supply. We use our own workforce that we train and develop the skill set.
Yeah. Okay, we've been talking. I've been kind of envisioning single-family dwellings, but is it also possible to build multi-unit condominiums or apartment buildings?
I think right now we're focused on the single family, so that's really the conversations we've had with the manufacturers has been just about that. Could it do that? I haven't asked that question yet.
Yeah. And it would be able to comply with all the regular things of a home, like the sewage connections, other utility connections, power connections. Just be like building a home out of
It's essentially new construction. So it's new construction. So all the steps that you would take with new construction, you would do the same with this. The only difference is because of this technology, you can build faster, cheaper, with better quality because it's concrete.
Yeah. How soon do you think this could happen?
Well, it depends on how quickly people want us to get started. Because as we shared, a lot of the challenges is on the code itself, right? Bringing the printer here, that's easy. Getting the supply, we can have access to that. It's getting through the wickets of the permitting process so that we can actually start. I think that's the area that we need to work through.
Yes. Okay. And in your discussions with the stakeholders at the at the round table, did they bring up any concerns or challenges to you that you weren't previously aware of?
The challenge or the questions that we heard at the event were all the challenges that we had heard in any conversations that we have had. So I do feel that at the event we actually got very positive response. In fact, I would almost say optimism that this technology is, they saw the possibilities with what this can do. And the neat thing too is, yes, it could address our affordable housing, but there's so many other applications. One of the things that we can do too is infrastructure, right? So drainage, piping, concrete piping. We could even do, if people want to improve our parks, right? Concrete benches, concrete tables. I think it's really fresh, right, in people's minds with the typhoon and just a reminder of what damage natural disasters can do. And so if we're going to rebuild, right, does it not make sense to rebuild with concrete? And now we have this technology to be able to do that with. This technology will actually enable that investment.
Yeah, it sounds like a real game changer, I mean, I wouldn't even think of the fact that you could also build, like what you said, for parks and stuff. You can partner with the government, and it could make things just run a lot faster,
Yes.
So where are we at now in terms of the rules and regulations or requirements of bringing this equipment here? Once it lands, you got to go through all of the bureaucratic red tape to get it.
Yes.
Where are we? Can you explain how and where how that's going to happen?
We're still so early that we're getting our Guam business license. Let me say that.
Yeah. Okay. And then you'll find out from public. Have you was Public Works at this meeting at UOG, and did they?
They were
have
invited.
Any input?
I didn't actually see the sign and roster to know who actually came to represent, but we did. I do know that the invitation was sent out.
Yeah, and they would be the primary agency that you need to work with and getting this whole thing started. Yeah.
I also have a meeting with them regarding the 3D printing. I have a meeting with the DPW, and so I presented this concept, this technology, and so they are aware of this one. So I think the moment that starts and we'll bring here the equipment, then we can start working with the printing and the preliminaries, that probably we can submit the documents for the DPW to work on that one. And so that's the start. That's the start of 3D printing.
Yeah, and it's so new that I imagine that DPW itself will have to gear up. They need to do their own in-house research, get their folks up to speed on what this 3D printing is all about, so that they can properly regulate it, for the protection of the public. Okay, we're going to take one more break, and we'll be back with Ernesto and Ann right after this. Don't go away.
New chicken nuggets from KFC?
Everybody's gonna want these. Let's eat these inside.
Try new Kentucky Fried Chicken Nuggets. You've never had nuggets like these.
In 2022, the all-electric Hyundai Ioniq 5 won the award for World Car of the Year. So, of course, the all-electric Hyundai Ioniq 6 2023. Because everyone knows how competitive sibling rivalries can be. World Car of the Year, 2 years in a row.
It's no place to rehabilitate and learn from their crimes.
How do you feel personally?
Well, mentally, of course, people get frustrated. You're going through their own problems with their court cases and their sentence. And then when you have the heat, everything else, the frustration happens. Then, like I said, you have 20-some guys in here, different attitudes, different problems. And at times you're gonna have people clashing. You know what I mean? Even if it's just mouth, but it happens. And the rest of us have to deal with that.
KUAM goes on the inside, bad conditions in the Department of Corrections.
It feels like jail. Same thing anywhere, any other post I go to, it feels like the same thing. But it's just hygiene-wise, it's kind of bad. I think there should be more help to us. You know, help as in the government giving us something to treat ourselves, you know, rehabilitate ourselves instead of really just sit around here and all day and not do anything. There's not really much program, so we just wait it out. And when we get out, it's kind of worse because we haven't really learned.
Could a new prison be the answer? Watch a KUAM special, The Less Than 1% of Guam, streaming now.
Welcome back to The Hub. We're with Professor Ernesto Aguades and Ann Dela Cruz of Star Sand Technologies, and we've got just a couple of minutes left. So, Professor, let me just start with you. Just tell us, in your opinion, why this is a good idea and what benefits it will provide Guam in the long run.
Yeah, firstly, because the purpose really here is for affordable housing. As Ann mentioned, is about affordable housing. And also, this is a new technology for Guam, so we have the incubations and also the applications of this. And the other one also is that we need some workforce training for our, to establish workforce here. And so by this project, we'll be able to have the workforce training for students. And also we can also establish here different partnerships with different offices, like those things. And of course, this is there will be several mentoring process from Star Sand and also from the University of Guam on our students, and also for those who are interested in 3D printing.
Yeah. And?
Yeah, when I first, I just think back to when I first got introduced to technology, and as you said, Nestor, it is a game changer because not only in the field of affordable housing, where it could affect supply, right, and it could affect workforce development, the two things that are really hard right now. And I think our thinking is, scarcity breeds innovation, and here in Guam there is so much scarcity, right? I mean, stateside you can print stairs with concrete, but most people stateside, would they choose to do that? No, when they have other options. What options do we have? So I think because of that, we have an incredible opportunity to be a part of something that can truly build possibilities for our island, for our people. Yes, with affordable housing, which is the biggest pain point, but then there's so many other applications, right? I think timing-wise, it's a great stage of where we're at, of all the things that we can do. And I think for me personally, I'm truly grateful to be part of it all. Right, just to see the community come together, right, and see the possibilities that this technology could do for the people. So for me, I'm just really grateful to be here.
Yeah, and it really would address, I mean, if all works well, it really would address what has been, a current and future problem, I think, is if you can build it fast and at lower costs, and I think it's going to be a big benefit to a lot of folks on Guam. So best of luck to you. Thank you for joining us. That's Professor Ernesto Aguades. This is Ann Dela Cruz of Star Sand Technologies. I'm Nestor Lecanto. Thanks for watching, everyone. We'll see you again next week on The Hub.